What's up, YouTube? Holy Toledo. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Trey's Trades, where we freaking talk fast and slap the ass, baby. I like to preface by saying that I'm not a financial advisor nor expert, so take what I say with a grain of salt. Let's get into the video. So, as you guys probably already know, I did the second interview here with Adam Aron, and I think there were some good snippets in there. There were some things that people felt like they wanted some more answers to, and I wanted to offer you my thoughts on that whole interview, right? So, if you haven't seen it, I think the first thing to do, obviously, is to go back and watch this, at least the snippets of it. There is a timestamp in here somewhere. It's just Adam Aron interview part 2. You watch that and this will make a little more sense. But these are some of the highlights and some of the things that I think are probably the most worth talking about. So I want to go over the 8.5 million shares that were sold to Mudrick Capital and the 11.5 million shares that were sold at the offering into the market. And I want to compare this to Wanda, right? I want to talk about this 25 million share authorization vote that's coming up with this next proxy statement. I want to talk about the stock split, which is a very simple answer. I want to talk about this count. And then I want to talk about fundamental value, because this is a narrative that is trying to be spun by the mainstream financial media. And honestly, I think that Fox Business was pretty spot on in saying that Adam Aron was kind of pigeonholed by his lawyers into speaking on the fundamental value of this company. So without further ado, let's just get into this video. So the 8.5 million shares that were sold to Mudrick Capital, right? There was speculation that there was some sort of inside plan for Adam Aron, or the company, I should say, the CEO of the company, AMC, the management. They sold those shares to Mudrick, and all of a sudden they just decided, boom, we're just going to immediately sell these into the market right after we made some cash, and then put out this piece about how it's overvalued. Well, Adam Aron actually put out something talking about that statement, saying that it was overvalued. And you will find, if you dig through the trenches, that there's never actually an official statement that came out from Mudrick saying anything of the sort. So, true, they did go about and sell their shares immediately after buying them. However, Adam Aron doesn't control that, and neither does AMC themselves. So that's not something necessarily that the company could control. They just had to put faith, essentially, in hedge funds. Now, obviously, it'd be better if they put faith in the retail investor. Obviously, I would love if we could pick up some of those shares on the offerings, but I don't know if I've ever seen something like that take place with offerings. Nonetheless, that 8.5 million shares that was sold to Mudrick, them selling that immediately after they bought it, that had nothing to do with Adam Aron or the company themselves, and that statement seems to have been debunked. Now, this 11.5 million shares that was sold into the market, an offering into the market, right? Where did these shares come from? These two shares, sales, 8.5 million plus 11.5. This actually came from 20 million shares worth of the equity incentive plan. Now, if you don't know what the EIP is, this is actually a management facilitated plan that rewards stock to the management team in terms of compensation, so that they're incentivized to want the company to do better, right? So these 20 million shares, originally for the equity incentive plan, they were already going to exist. Inevitably, these were going to exist, right? What ended up happening is Adam Aron and the management decided to scrap this and instead raise money for the company. So this is where these 20 million shares came from. And all said and done, how many shares are left remaining for them to sell into the market if they wish to? 46,000. Now, 46,000 shares is not going to do anything in and of itself, right? The only thing that would be bad is if the media tried to spin this off in some sort of way. I'll tell you right now, right? They are trying everything in their power to create fear, uncertainty, and doubt, FUD in the masses to scare people out of their money. That's as simple as it gets, right? So this is what they've got, 46,000 shares. These 20 million shares, I'll say this one thing. I think the timing of it was obviously pretty shitty. It killed some momentum. There's no arguing that. But I don't think the shares themselves killed the momentum. I think the media did. And I'm going to tell you why. Wanda sold 40 million shares, all said and done. It lowered the stock price $4. We sold, right, AMC management, 11.5 million shares yesterday, and the price dropped $40. Now, what do you think the difference is here? I think two main things, right? There's obviously more emotionality and volatility in the stock, so people are going to overreact in both directions, which is going to drive price action, right? But that 11.5 million is less than Wanda's 40 million that lowered it $4, right? So just keep that in the back of your mind. You've got emotionality that's tied into this right now, but also you've got the freaking hedge funds. You've got some shorting taking place. I mean, I'm telling you, these 11.5 million shares sold into the market did not drop at $40. The media and the collusion and the hit pieces and the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that's trying to play with your guys' emotions is essentially would drop this down to that $40 that it did, right? That negative 30% at its lowest, down to $37 trading on that individual day. So that's kind of what I've got rocking here right now. I like I said, honestly, it's not ideal in any scenario for, momentum to be killed, especially if you're looking for a squeeze on a stock. But, in terms of the way they got that done, they raised money for themselves, right? And they were going to use those shares for themselves anywho. These 20 million shares were inevitably, unarguably going to exist, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So the timing, obviously, nobody wants that. I don't fucking want it. I don't want it because I've got money in the game too, man. I've got money in the game too. But what can we do about it at this point, right? Can we do anything about it at this point? What can we do about their 46,000 shares they have remaining? None of this stuff is going to kill any sort of... This 46,000 shares, the only way it could do anything is if the media tries to play it off as if that's a big deal. But it's not. So if you're mentally prepared for that, you're ready to go. Next thing I want to talk about is this 25 million share vote. This is something that I am not even remotely going to consider looking at until we come up closer to that proxy statement date. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because I already have an understanding of the 25 million share vote because we've talked about the 500 million share authorization vote before, right? Not even on my radar right now. I'm not concerned about that in the least bit. I'm only going to start looking at that when we are like a week away from that vote. I'm not even going to put in my vote until the day before. That is the day that I'm going to make my decision on this because I do not want to base my decision on the here and now present moment. I'm going to wait until more information rolls in on the stock, on the price action, on the short interest, has the squeeze happened, and then I can make my true actual decision on this 25 million share authorization. One thing you do need to know is they're legally binded by documents, legal documents saying they can't use any of these in 2021, right? All they can use is this 46,000 shares that you've got sitting right here. That is all that they have available to them. Even if this got approved, they can't touch this until 2022. But like I said, I am not making a decision on this until the freaking day or 2 days before the vote is actually due. Stock split, easy as it gets, that's not happening. Adam Aron debunked this. It's actually in the document that popped out talking about this whole scenario with the stock split. They said pretty much verbatim, this brings us no financial incentive and thus is not on our radar. And even furthermore, it would require shareholder approval, which is the apes, right? The apes control 80% plus of the overall stock circulating on AMC right now. So it's just not on. It's nothing. It's FUD that can absolutely go to the grave. As simple as it gets. The share count. Synthetic shares, right? What's up with all this stuff? Now, this is as simple as it gets. Adam Aron, the SEC, management, people who are tied by legalities and by lawyers cannot disprove fact through speculation, right? So people are out there saying, hey, what's the deal with this, with the synthetic shares? The actual share count was about 501 million shares or so, right? A little bit more than that. So we cannot play the game of speculation, or at least they cannot. We can't, right? We can speculate all day long how many shares are out there, and we've seen the numbers. Like I've said this a million times. The freaking 150 million total share free flow back on January 27th. You saw 1.2 billion in volume. I think that speaks volumes. But if the management cannot prove it, right? They cannot legally come out and state that they believe synthetic shares are circulating. That's as simple as it gets. I think he can prove that algorithmic trading is circulating. He was comfortable saying that. Failure to delivers. I think he feels comfortable, saying they're circulating. But if he cannot prove synthetics are circulating, he can't speculate. That doesn't mean that it's not happening. It means that he can't prove it's happening, right? That's about as much as I can say about that. So what's a good way to kind of wrap this? So think about this, right? If he was to come out and say that there was 2 billion shares circulating on the market, but he couldn't prove it, and all of a sudden the share price went from what it's trading at right now from $50 to freaking 500. You know what happened to Adam Aron? He would be going to the slammer. He'd be absolutely going to the slammer. You can't do that, right? So I know there were people out there who wanted him to speak on synthetics. I actually asked him if he was comfortable speaking about it. Legalities are what they are, right? I'm not going to put a person in a position where they get in trouble, which inevitably means that everybody out here is suffering. So that's as simple as it is. That's as much as I can say about that share count. Fundamental value is the last thing that I want to talk about here because this is some sort of ridiculous narrative getting put out there right now as if 1 cent is a fundamental value of freaking AMC stock. And I am looking at you, Rich Greenfield. I'm looking at you. So fundamental value is not what this stock is about right now. I want to speak on, the fundamental value in terms of a weakening short thesis, right? Because the longer shorts fight the grain, the more risky this investment is for them. But that's not what we're trading on right now. It's pure fundamental value, right? You're playing this based on short interest. You're playing this based on failure to deliver. You're playing this based on short ladder attacks, naked shorting, algorithmic trading. You're playing this for some of the freaking malpractice, corruption, and manipulation that's taking place with AMC stock. And the fact that big institutions have pulled money away from retail investors for decades and decades and decades. You can't argue that. that. 2008, right? I don't care how many people say there's not that stuff happening, because it is happening. It is. It's absolutely 150% is, right? Fundamental value has nothing to do with this. So do not be tripped up by Adam Aron's statement about the fundamental value of the stock. In fact, I can nearly guarantee you that was lawyers telling him to cover his butt. I bet you the SEC was telling him to cover his butt, right? That's probably something that you're CEO of a company, you have to absolutely do. So don't be tripped up. None of us, you already know this. You guys already know this. You're ready for that. We know this is not about fundamental value. So don't let them say, this is not the fundamental value of the stock. There's risk involved. We know that. Right? We absolutely 150% know that. You guys understand where we're at right now. That's as simple as it gets. And that's what I've got for this quick recap on the freaking interview. So overall, I think it was pretty solid. I got the majority of the questions answered that I wanted answered. I've tried to throw them some good hard balls. You guys let me know what you thought down below. Yada, yada, yada. You know the little spiel. Drop a like, consider subscribe, whatever you want to do. Blah, blah, blah. Catch you on the next one. Much love and peace.